First of all, it's another tough one to take at home. A few missed chances in the first half. Just general reactions about the game.
Yeah, it's the same old story. You get chances, you don't put them away, and then you give up a goal, which, if you saw my pregame presentation, it's the first line item: protect the back post. And we give up a goal back post. We get down. They get a little momentum, and now it's difficult to come back. They're a decent team. They had a good start to the season. They had a rough patch, but they needed to get back, so they came to play. And we created enough chances to win this game, I believe. We just didn't put them away. Even in the second half, we had 2-3 clear chances where nothing comes out of it. That's just the way it's been for the whole season.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like, especially after the goal, you responded pretty well. You pressured the goal, but it was just another story of crosses not finding anyone's head or anyone's foot in the box.
Yeah.
Is that the same from you?
Yeah, I thought in the first half after their goal, we were rushing a lot to get the tying goal, and because we rushed things, we weren't finding the right pass, the right cross. So at halftime, we talked about being a little bit more patient and keep the ball in the attacking half a little bit more and try to spread them out, and then we find holes. Again, I felt obviously in terms of possession, we had a good game, but that possession needs to turn into opportunities and goal-scoring chances. And we created enough, again, to score some and maybe different outcome, but if you don't score your chances, you're going to, and we haven't been great at defending, so that's been the story.
And that initial substitution in the second half, you brought Niall on for Antoine. Was there any sort of formation or system switch that went on with that? Or?
No, I felt we needed some more energy up front, and what I did is I brought Niall into the fold and then pushed Tristan into the middle, which then pushed Prince up front with Elvis. I wanted to get some speed to see if we can get him behind him, and that's what the move was about.
How sort of killer was that second goal, the free kick, in terms of momentum for the game?
It was a bad foul given by us to begin with, the top of the 18. But then, I got to look at it. But I think that our wall doesn't stay still. And then, Joe needs to do a better job. The ball is hit at his side. So, I'm sure we'll review that and we'll go over it. But, overall, you look at it and what kind of chances did they have? They had 2 chances. They put them away. We had 3 or 4, and we don't put them away. So that's the difference.
Yeah, I mean, and final one for me, no points out of a possible 9 this week at home. Final stretch of the season coming up. What's the message to your team to keep them going?
We just got to keep building towards, making sure that defensively we're better. We can't give up goals back post. We can't, give up goals that we've given in this 3 games at home. We got to be solid defensively. So, maybe think of a different way to approach the game, maybe sit back a little bit more and try to hit on the counter. But we've done that also, and we've still been giving goals away. And we work on defensive phase of the game all the time. It's just hasn't produced any results, unfortunately.
I have one question.
Yeah.
So at the beginning of both the first half and second half, there was a lot of great pressure on Hartford's side. Is that something you like to see work on more?
Yeah, the intensity. We have to be more intense and bring more pressure, have more pressure on the ball, and make it difficult for the other team. When we have it, we look okay, and when we don't have it, obviously the other team is easily stringing passes together, and we're chasing. We did the same thing to the other team. We made them chase a little bit in the first half, especially, but then we don't get what we want out of that possession and out of that controlling the game.